Before sunrise on the morning of October 20, 2008, 26-year-old Ann Presley was found in her home in the Heights, an old money neighborhood in Little Rock, Arkansas, after a terrible beating that took her life just 5 days later. Patricia Kennedy, the mother of Presley, made her usual wake-up call to her daughter, who'd worked for KATV Channel 7, an ABC affiliate in Little Rock, Arkansas since 2004. When Presley didn't answer, Kennedy rushed over and found her daughter in the bedroom of the small, white rented home on Club Road, just up the street from the Little Rock Country Club.
In Little Rock, Arkansas, a disturbing crime. A TV anchorwoman is hospitalized and in critical condition, but stable this morning after being brutally attacked inside her home. CBS News correspondent Michelle Gielan has the story.
The Little Rock Police Department has...
Ann Presley went from sometime crime reporter to real-life crime victim. Her mother knew something was wrong early yesterday morning when she didn't answer a daily wake-up call.
The mother did drive to the residence on Club Drive. There she found her daughter inside the residence suffering from some severe wounds.
Presley was found at her home lying in bed unconscious, suffering from life-threatening wounds. She'd been severely beaten and stabbed. Police say her injuries were caused by blunt force trauma. Her purse was missing, but there was no sign of forced entry. Presley was a popular local television personality who lived in this quiet neighborhood for 3 years.
Charismatic, colorful, loved God, loved her family, loved her job, just happy. Just unbelievable. I mean, a dream child.
6 years.
Police say robbery could have been a motive, or she may have been the victim of her own celebrity. So far, there are no suspects, just questions. Michelle Gielan, CBS News, New York.
Joining us from Little Rock is Joey Saab, Ann Presley's neighborhood. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How long have you known Ann Presley?
About 6-7 years.
And describe her. What kind of a person is she?
Ann was a first-class girl. She had great morals, had a heart of gold. She was sunshine. She lit up the skies, lit up the heights, lit up life. She loved everybody. She was passionate.
Were there any kinds of stories or thoughts? I mean, from all the news accounts we understand, there was no talk about stalkers or people who would wish her ill. Were there any kinds of rumors about anything like that?
Nothing. I've never seen a guy in her house. I always tease her about dating. Nothing. Never saw a clue. Never saw a guy in her house.
Yeah. You were in regular communication with her. Did she have a concern in the world, per se?
No, nothing. Just loved her life, loved her Bible study, loved her job. It was all about love.
What has this done to the community? What is the sense around Little Rock that this has happened to this young woman?
It's just shocked the whole area, the whole state, the whole city. My street where we live on is just, everyone is just in shock. The cars, the people, the sympathy is just unheard of in our we have a very nice, quaint neighborhood, and it's just, everyone is just shocked. Little kids are in shock.
Yeah. In terms of, have you heard anything in terms of her prognosis or what the outcome is here?
I'm hoping, and with God's prayers, that she is going to be okay.
I can tell this is an emotional conversation we're having this morning. And
it's okay.
There you go. Thank you very, very much for just taking the time to speak with us. We do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right.
Kennedy arrived to a horrible sight. Her daughter was on the bed. There was blood everywhere, including the bed, walls, and ceiling. Presley was so badly beaten that her mother could not recognize her. Presley's attacker also sexually assaulted her. In addition to the injuries on her head and face, Presley broke her left hand in what her mother and stepfather have called a fight for her life. For 5 days, she was unconscious and medically sedated at St. Vincent Infirmary Medical Center in Little Rock. DNA evidence was collected at the scene of the beating. On November 24th, just a few days later, there was a DNA match found. The DNA from Presley's home was matched to evidence taken from the April 21 rape of a teacher in Marianna, Arkansas, some 90 miles east of Little Rock. During the weeks after the crime occurred, rumors ran rampant. And once the DNA was matched to Curtis Lavelle Vance, rumors continued to grow. Vance was arrested on November 26, 2008, and admitted to scoping out houses in nice areas of Little Rock, including the Heights where Presley lives. Vance was from a poor city of Marianna, Arkansas, where he most recently had lived in a peeling white house. He stayed there along with his girlfriend and their 3 children. His girlfriend, Shanika Cooper's mother, also lived with them, as well as her brother and 1 aunt. Many were quoted as saying that Vance was a good, caring father and husband and that he wouldn't hurt anyone. Once the girlfriend Cooper accused him of slapping her head into a wall in August of the same year as the murder of Presley, when Cooper then pulled a knife in response. A judge later dismissed a domestic battery charge against him. Aside from that charge, Vance had some traffic offenses such as not having a driver's license or insurance or driving on a suspended license. Records show he still owed fines of $1,226 at the time of the murder of Presley. Cooper was charged with 2 counts of theft by receiving after she sold a few items at a pawn shop. She pointed the finger at Vance, who she said was stealing stuff. None of the pawned items came from the rape in Marianna. At his trial, Curtis Lavelle Vance, the man accused of killing Presley, told police he beat her with a wood-handled garden tool after she awoke and found him committing a sex act beside her bed, according to testimony by a detective. Vance described how he hit the KATV personality as many as 5 times, shattering her left arm as she held it up to shield her face. Little Rock Police Detective Tommy Hudson said. Hudson's testimony came as Pulaski County Circuit Judge Chris Piazza weighed whether to throw out Vance's often convoluted statements to police and DNA evidence before the scheduled trial. Over the course of the arrest and trial, Vance often changed his story, and while he admitted he was in the Heights neighborhood stealing things, he also claimed that he was with 2 other men, and these men killed Ann Presley when he went outside to move his car. Vance, however, couldn't offer a clear reason why police found his semen on Presley's bed sheets and body. In November of 2009, a jury found Vance guilty of the rape and beating death of Anchorwoman Presley. Ann Presley was co-host of a morning TV show at the time of her death, had a bit part in a President Bush biopic, W. Oliver Stone awarded her a 30-second part in his film W after he noted her physical resemblance to conservative commentator Ann Coulter, and earned her BA in political science from Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee. She was hired by KATV in May 2004 to produce Good Morning Arkansas. She was promoted to a full-time reporter position in November of 2004. Ann was a native of Greenville, South Carolina, and moved with her family to Little Rock while still in high school. In addition to the arrest of Vance, 3 hospital care workers who pleaded guilty to misdemeanor violations of federal health confidentiality law for looking at the St. Vincent Infirmary medical records of Presley received probationary sentences October 26, 2009. All 3 defendants received 1-year probationary sentences and varying fines. Candida Griffin, a former emergency room coordinator, looked at the records 3 times. She was also fined $1,500. Sarah Miller, a former accounts representative at a nearby branch at the hospital, looked a dozen times. She was also fined $2,500. Dr. Jay Holland, a physician with hospital privileges, admitted to looking at records after hearing Presley had died. He was fined $5,000 and ordered to perform 50 hours of community service educating professionals on the Health Privacy Act. The 3 pleaded guilty to misdemeanor violations of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, based on their accessing a patient's records without legitimate purpose.
Presley's parents were by her bedside in her final moments and said in a statement that their hearts are broken. Her father had talked to reporters just one day earlier.
This was an incredibly heinous crime, and in my opinion, there are other people who may be at risk.
Last Monday, Presley was found by her mother, bloodied and beaten. Police do not believe she was targeted because of her on-air job, but they have yet to name a suspect in what is now a murder investigation.
Lawyers say Curtis Vance is falsely accused, the victim of police pressure to solve a high-profile case. But prosecutors paint the picture of a brutal killer, starting with testimony from Ann Presley's mother.
From the witness stand, Patty Kennedy stared down Curtis Vance, the man accused of raping and fatally beating her only child. Then, choking back tears, she described a mother's nightmare. It was horrific. I absolutely could not take the scene in. I could not imagine what I was seeing when I found my daughter, she told the jury. 26-year-old Ann Presley was so new at her morning anchor job.
billion-dollar financial bailout plan.
Parents would call at 3 a.m. to make sure she was awake, but on this morning there was no answer. Frantic, her mother went to Ann's house. She found the back door wide open, her daughter gasping for breath. It was Ann, but she was so swollen and her hair was completely matted with blood. She was beyond recognition, her mother told the court. There was blood on the ceiling. That's how horrific her attack was. The state claims DNA evidence found in Presley's home links Vance to her rape and murder, and that DNA also ties him to another brutal rape and robbery in his hometown. But the defense claimed Vance was tricked into giving up his DNA and into giving police 3 conflicting confessions.
Now, Curtis Vance has pleaded not guilty to charges that include capital murder. If convicted, he could face the death penalty.